Hello, and welcome. We're super excited about this episode because we are going to break down behind the scenes of something that we just launched. And in reality, like I feel like I keep checking the numbers with Rhonda, and it's like, have we really like created, launched, and sold a course from scratch that wasn't even on the roadmap, that wasn't even like in percolation in 3 weeks? And what is the answer, Rhonda?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm excited to dive in and share the behind the scenes process and our aha moments of why this even needed to be created in the first place. And the philosophy that I honestly believe kept us so focused on what the outcome was and what we were creating, to stay in integrity with keeping the results as quick and fast as possible. So we're in for a treat today. You ready to dive in, Rhonda?
Yeah, every single time you do these openers, I'm like, I can't wait to hear what we talk about. So I hope that the listeners are just like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. So what is it that we just launched?
Video marketing made easy.
Ooh, and isn't that name, just the name, is that name sexy?
You know, it is. And it's so interesting. And let's just start there. Because so many people get caught up in the name of the course. And, I feel like after our little light bulbs went off, and we'll get into the story of how that came to reality. But a lot of people start there, right? Where they start, what's it going to be named? Let me go look at the Google GoDaddy domain searches and all of that type of stuff. And for us, we talked about the identity of what people, so it came down to two things for us: the identity that people would have, like as an embodiment, right? So like, do we want, YouTube rankers or rank masters, right? That's an identity. Or do we want the destination of the results? So we chose the destination of the results for this because it embodied what our goal was with the course. Like when you hear video marketing made easy, there's not a lot of curiosity as in, I wonder what this is about and what it teaches you. So for us, simplicity was a win there. And I mean, I know that's shocking with Miss Simple Systems herself and all of her glory. But you want to speak to that, Rhonda? Because that was really the tipping point where it was like it gave us sort of like a North Star to put our coordinates in, and then like, is this the simplest process? Is this the simple, like it was the consistent filter of that helped us hold true in the way that we created the modules and the way that we structured the course and all of that.
I think it's probably the most fun that I've had in terms of creating, and we're calling it a course. I really feel that it's a program. And I honestly feel, what we didn't do? We should have had Colton on with us because he was really the catalyst for all of this happening.
We'll do part two. We'll do behind the scenes of video marketing made easy, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is now. Yeah. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And I think it's not, we didn't want to do just like another YouTube course, because video marketing made easy encompasses really content marketing, and part of that strategy is YouTube. And I think that we all have courses, YouTube courses that are gathering, we call it the virtual dust. We've all tried to be very intentional. YouTube, if I'm being honest, feels very overwhelming. It feels very daunting, but oh my goodness, what an amazing opportunity that we have right now in the market. And like, we've got the stats, we've got the numbers, we've got the percentages and like opportunity percentages. But yeah, I think you pair it up with Cassie's strategy, Colton's just ease of video, just in general. And then I'll put a process behind it. And I mean, it was born.
Yeah. So let's dive into that, because I just want to first of all admit, like, creating a course is very intimidating,
Yeah.
right? You're trying to guess the gap in the marketplace and exactly where your dream client, is stuck. Like what is the biggest problem that they need to be solved? And the interesting turn of events here is we aren't YouTube experts.
No.
And I think that's why it became so easy. We were the ones in pain.
Yeah.
We were in massive pain and frustration because, like what Rhonda said, we have several courses that are collecting the virtual digital dust. And we've also tried it the regular way, the mainstream way that it's taught. We've been part of communities, we've been part of challenges, we've been part of this. Like, I think we've shared on here that we booked an Airbnb for 2 days, but if we haven't yet, like we even went so far as to do like days of research, built out like 50 topics. We polished SEO kind of search terms with titles, and we booked an Airbnb for 2 days with the intention of
Of
it's
life.
okay.
Oh my gosh, was that
Yeah.
life interrupting us? That was life.
Totally life.
I was
Totally
like,
life.
is that you, Cassie Brown? And it's like, no, Rhonda, I'm waiting on you. It's you.
Not me. Please silence your phones during all video presentations. But like we booked out, we invested the time and the research and we blocked out the time and we did 0 videos. So it was a huge pain point for us, but it was on our radar. So we were honestly in the dream client shoes, right? We were the frustrated. And so we hired a YouTube coach to come in and consult us. And I don't have to build the picture of how amazing Rhonda is at systems, but like week after week, we would meet. Rhonda would get her marching orders, and then she would create a process out of it that she could execute on. And literally, when I say execute on, she was either executing like while we were on the call the next day, or like within the first 3 days, and already getting feedback. And I think that was the thing that was the catalyst for mostly everything that we did. Was we realized the way that Colton was teaching, the way that Rhonda was executing and completing that feedback loop to adjust and go at it again, that was the process that was missing in the marketplace. So we weren't even like, this was a 90-day coaching that we paid for. I think we were like 3 weeks in and we were like, 1, it's working. 2, we're further along than we've ever been in any other program. And I think at that point, by 3 weeks in, we were starting to create SOPs and outsourcing it to the team, which was a requirement, like based on the lifestyle that we want to build, the 3 days a week that we want to stick to working. And we were completely anti, like, I don't want to spend 10 hours of batching content every month or every quarter. Like that just wasn't what we wanted to do. So when we start looking at that and seeing where other people were in growing their business and extending their leads and connecting with what organic sales processes are out there, how can we connect and expand our reach and our audience, get our message out there, but without having to show up live and be lost in a news feed. So that was it was like big neon signs for me that was going on after 3 weeks. Rhonda, what was it like for you?
Well, I think, one of the things that we weren't YouTube experts. And one of the things like you constantly hear, you are a future version of your dream customer, and literally being 10 steps ahead of where I knew other people were in pain, number one. And it was almost freeing and releasing to say, I've got 1,200 YouTube subscribers. I get maybe 7 new subscribers a month, maybe 1,200, 1,300 views a month. And this is how things are going. I never in my wildest dreams thought that we would launch a course like this. Ever, 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 ever. It was, I can completely 110% identify with our dream customer, because every time I would go to implement, I had a great time implementing. And I know that we're going to get to it, but the people that are in the community, I have never, ever, a course that I've purchased, a course that I have launched, seen participation at this level, where it's almost literally like you implement and then the next question comes up, and you implement and the next question comes up. And I'm so close to that pain that I totally know where they are. I am not so far removed and fancy pants that I have to remember, or I totally miss the mark on what it is that they need. The beautiful thing is, I mean, now that we're even like deconstructing this, is I stayed in my zone, you stayed in your zone, and Colton stayed in his zone. It was his guidance, because this is what he's done for what, like 6 years. And it served, there were such simple things that we were doing each and every week. And because we have gone the traditional route, and now we were going the one-on-one route, and there was one day, I don't think I'll ever forget. I came in here, I've got a rolling, and you can kind of see it a little bit, a rolling whiteboard where we had mapped some things out. And I was like, people will not, the traditional path that people are on, that totally sets them up for failure, completely sets them up for failure. And that's where we were. I mean, if we had, we booked the Airbnb, we are comfortable on camera, we do lives, we've been on stage, we've been in business for 40 years between the two of us, and we still could not batch the videos. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I mean, heck, we've got kids. Anything is possible, right? But there was just something to the simplicity and the release of any type of imposter syndrome that just made it joyful, made it fun, made it transformational, and already transformational to the people that are in the program. And just a really quick side note that I just wanted to add here, when you were talking about team is like one of those words. It feels like there's 500 people working behind us. It started with one, and you're looking at one and yet plus one. So now there's two. So it just started here. When I went to map out the process for one team member that would be focused on this particular project, I was overwhelmed. I was like, there is no way that I can share this information and translate it in a way to be just like what I want. I mean, how many of you are micromanagers and just like, I know everyone out there is like, yep. But the thing is, guys, you've got to go through the process to understand the process. You have to hit the hurdles and the questions and the problems and the issues to be able to teach someone. If you can't speak the process, then it's non-existent. Like, the thing you're doing is non-existent. So, and that, interestingly enough, because we have other processes where we capture where our dream customer is, I'm just going to go ahead and share Valentina, because I know we'll end up sharing her video. She was like, Valentina can do this once. And she's very stoic. She's Scandinavian, and I love her. She's like, Valentina can do this once. Maybe Valentina could do this 10 times, but after that, you kill Valentina. What I am interested in is getting your process and handing it off to my team member. And I was like, I never thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's what we've been talking about for a while. It's staying in your zone of genius, but it's like, how are you going to duplicate yourself, replace it either with automation or a process or a team member, and step fully into that CEO role that keeps you in your zone of genius, right? That's the revenue generation activity. And I feel like this little episode is just going to be like, it could be like just a mini course in like how to stay focused, how to stay in your zone, what to create for the biggest pain point that your clients and customers have. Like, listen to the pain point, and then like that filter, put that filter over there. Like, is this as simple as it can be to get them an immediate, quick win, get them into action, and not overwhelm them with steps or the technical like history of YouTube, or like, you know, in our case, but like a lot of courses do that. There's a lot of front end stuff before the action starts taking place. And for us, that's the pattern that we were seeing in the marketplace. It was too complicated to even get started, too intimidated to even like start filming one video, much less bashing 30.
Mhm.
So we turned the industry on its head, the way that it was teaching it, based on where we found success, where we found fun, and where we found joy. And any time that we can create that experience for our clients and our customers, who doesn't want to participate in a course or a community or program that is energetic and fun and easy, right? Like, we have enough hard things in our life, right? So I think that is, I just wanted to kind of highlight that, because I feel like that's a really huge takeaway, that we tend to overcomplicate the way that we teach based on how much experience and expertise that we have, because we think that everybody has to understand everything. Now, is video marketing made easy, like all of the things for YouTube? Nope. Did it need to be? Nope. Is that why it's working? Yep.
So it's interesting. So just to prove your point, we were just on a call with a client and they launched a course. And what was one of the things that the client said? It had too much stuff in it. It had too much stuff in it. So the joy, I could not believe this. So we were running up against, like, we're launching, we are running up against a deadline. And so we're like, all three of us are like, okay, calendar block. I didn't even know we were going to do it on this day. And so we opened up Zoom and we literally went through questions, the most commonly asked questions, and then questions that came up for me as I was implementing what Colton wanted to do. That's why I don't want to call it a course. I almost want to call it a conversation. I have never in my life recorded something that was so conversational and like you were a part of it. And all of these questions like hit the nail on the head. And they're funny, like Adam kept coming in and out. I mean, there were, phones ringing. Some of that stuff is edited and we did redo those videos. But at the end of it, I was like, man, we are onto something here. Because again, I think the thing that has made folks inside this community just like hit the ground running is they see the vision. There was something that we said, and that I don't even know if we want to talk about that first workshop. Something that we said, and they just came in swinging. So good.
Yeah. So let's save the workshop for part 2 with Colton, and so we can all share our experience, because boy, we went to the mat on that one too. And I think that's a really important process in and of itself. But, I keep coming back to like the conversation style. I think it is also the relatability.
Yeah.
We were open and we were transparent, and we weren't like, and this is the only course that's gonna teach you how to da da da. Like, we just weren't like that, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a tap dance show. It was, here's what I learned. This was my frustration. Leads and sales, every business, it's a universal problem, right? And you had the pain point, and I had the pain point last year of huge Facebook ad, paid traffic investments, right? And everyone knows the state of paid traffic is not what it was 6 years ago, right? So this is a concern that's on a lot of business owners' minds who are trying to figure out, how do I best leverage free organic leads through like all of the platforms, right? Yes, we were there, right? How do I duplicate myself and not get exhausted of having to do it live every single day, or publish every single day, but also not 10 hours for 30 days of content, right? Like that was a huge friction point for us. And we bet, and we had some conversations that it was a friction point for a lot of other business owners. So we knew going in this product was in demand. There was validation in the market. And heck, like we were in that dream client role. We had just invested in a one-to-one coach. Okay. And then we also looked at, is everyone at that point in their business to invest in a one-on-one coach? No. Can we teach these principles and at least give them a head start? Yes. Right. So those are some questions like that I hope that you can start asking yourself if you're considering creating a course. And I think also it's not going to be perfect. Like let go of the idea of it being perfect. We are adjusting on a daily basis. We've launched, there are people in there, they are asking questions. If those questions are not answered in the resources or the trainings, guess what gets answered? That question, that support is immediate. Rhonda and Colton just ran the first live weekly call, 100% participation. That is unheard of.
Mhm.
And that makes me proud, right? Like I'd rather have like the quick and dirty, the straight to the point. This is what we did. Here's the step-by-step. Let's go do it. And have 100% participation, then have everything polished and professional and awkward and stale, and no one show up every day of the week.
So I think that you present a good point there. And I'm going to call it like calling the baby ugly here for just a quick second, because if you're asking questions, just do it. If we're asking, well, what do you think my people would like here? Which platform do you think my people would like? What do you think nobody can answer that. Nobody literally can answer that except when you do it and you go through it. We have already, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll say, like Cassie, like her branding is insanity. And the hub, because of Heather, is amazing. And this workbook that she's put together blows my mind. But we have already, in one section, in the short video section, we have already made some changes based on, hey, where is that? Where do I go? What do I need to do? It wasn't clear. So we've already made those changes, right? There's one video that there was questions about that I know that we're going to need to record because they couldn't see Colton's screen and it was just having a conversation, but they were taking it. What we have done is we have trained our people to be very literal. Go video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4. If I can't see everything, then there's something wrong. If I could do it over again, then it would have been the hub as a place for us to have recordings, and it would just be live in person with Colton. That community is so valuable. We can say the value is that community is so valuable. And here's the thing. There were a couple of questions around the YouTube dashboard that I was like, I am driving myself crazy. What is XYZ? And he's like, oh, it's here. I go, that's it. I mean, that was literally it. If people can get their questions answered like right then and there, that is so valuable. You're asking the wrong questions if you're worrying about all those things, and people are not going to be able to tell you how their people are going, or how your people are going to react to you. What's the best time to hold a workshop? I don't know. Do one during the day, do one at night, do one on Tuesday, do one on Thursday, and record the data. That is the only way that you're going to know that information. What are you going to say, Cassie Brown?
I mean, I just think it is that community piece. And that's something that we've communicated consistently on Customers for Life, where it's like there's a commitment level here. And I think that's also translated in the way that we launched this program, right? I'll correct my language. It's that, you know, there's the course and the trainings is in one, but it is a complete program because there's communication, there's dialogue, there's live Q&A, troubleshooting, all sorts of stuff. And there's like a community that's rallying together towards the same goal. Right. And that community piece is vital in the long-term game of why we're all in business, because I really believe, for the longest time, I always believed in relationship marketing, but the pandemic knocked a lot of people, a lot of gurus, or a lot of popular people like that weren't willing to show up, like, because people leaned into people craved connection and community, even more so during the pandemic when community was cut off, right? We all learned how to cope virtually. And so those at arm's length, or I'm going to sell you, but I'm not going to connect with you or show up, like that is no longer enough. It's not enough.
Mm.
Right. And so when we look at the things that we're creating and we're looking at the long run, like when it comes back to course creation, old school course creation taught, create a course so the course creator can have passive income. It wasn't putting the course like member front and center with their needs as a priority for the results that they were being sold.
Right.
And this completely changes the game. They are 100% top priority and they know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the energy. Lisa came in and she was like, took me a long time. I know I'm gonna be a pro by the end of the month. Like, I don't know. They saw the vision as we stumbled through. I think that I was like the biggest road bump, but as we stumbled through that first presentation, there were the handful that like saw that vision, and I'm so thankful for them. And we were on the call, and again, Valentina, I mean, she's kind of like Thomas, like they're the quiet ones, but like when they speak, you sit up a little bit taller, right? And she's like, I understand that we need to be posting every day, but I'm really feeling, and I can't even believe she said this. I'm really feeling sorry for people who didn't take you up on this offer. And I was like, we stopped the coaching call, and I was like, that means so much. That was validation for Colton and I. You weren't there, but I immediately was like, oh my gosh, you've got to see this. And it just was like one of those, yes, we're doing it right. Community is it, and we're doing it right. So I think, what are we saying here? Like, you are a future version of your dreamy. Never disconnect like where you've been. Always share your journey of what was painful. And I was dropping hints all along. If you go back on my Facebook, I was like, oh, look, and even like in the presentation that I keep opening these loops, but even, I was like, and I'm the professional YouTuber. Y'all, I ain't a professional YouTuber. I mean, that would be cool for my kids, right? If I was, but
well, you're highly ranked YouTuber, that's for sure.
yeah, on the front page of YouTube and Google for my keywords. But after spending $100,000 in Facebook ads, I am looking for an alternative. And I don't, Colton, he's on to a new presentation, which I'm so excited for, that he shared that just like the other day. But if you don't have the organic strategy in place, you always have to be spending money then to get in front of people. And I think one of the guiding principles, was it you who even said this? Like, if you don't make the offer, then someone else who won't serve your people like you serve will make the offer.
Yes. And I think that was one of the things that we kept coming around to, whereas we knew, like, it's not like we came into this like fresh and hadn't bought courses before and didn't know what was out there in the marketplace.
Right.
We've been in them together. We've bought them separately. We've tried, like the little duck above water, like treading water, like with their little legs just working like crazy, trying to get into this YouTube game. But it was uncomfortable. It was kind of confusing. It was inconvenient. It was one of those things where it just didn't fit into the schedule. So like, guess what didn't happen, right? Like a lot of things in business. And this was just one of those things where we firsthand experienced the pain point, and we quickly experienced like incredible relief of a solution. So like, look for those little white flags in your own life, and the way that you solve problems. Like, people want the problem solved. And so we could have just went on our merry way and put the processes in place and been like, well, so-and-so has a course, this course is out there. Like they'll eventually figure it out. Right. Or we could just be like, you know what, let's buckle down, let's knock it out, and let's serve some people. And that is what we decided to do. And I will say proudly that we presented this offer like on data where Rhonda was 28 days into this process.
Because it freaking works. It works. It works. I went from like 0 views to 33,000 views to a handful of subscribers to 130 in like 28 days and away. I mean, just like it's crazy.
I love your laugh. I love when you laugh.
Well, because I just look back at it and I'm just like, it's silly. It really is. It's silly. It's fun. And again, I wasn't stepping out like, and I even said, so one thing, so it's launched. So we launched it. And when we launched it, then we are starting already to refine things. When you launch something, you say the message kind of over and over again. We take in some of the data that our current members are sharing with us. We don't take it out of turn. I mean, we get the permission. They're sharing openly with us because it helps us to continue to serve, right? But then the thing that I love from a systems process is that we really didn't solidify our bonuses until like the very end. And then you made these graphics. And when I saw it, okay, here's the 90-day sprint. I already told you I'm not an Instagram expert. We are going to do an Instagram masterclass where we've got an expert that comes in that takes flops to thriving, accounts from like surviving to thriving, right? And then the List Builders Bootcamp, when that was the one that you really liked. And I was like, well, that's pretty easy.
The List Builders Bootcamp is pretty dang sexy. Like, I'm just going to say, like, that closes the loop on everything. Like that creates a free organic lead marketing ecosystem that, like, holy smokes, you're connecting and you're serving. Like, people say make money in your sleep, but oh my gosh, like connect and gather like your audience and nurture them while you sleep. Yeah. Hello, like sign me up for that.
Yeah. Well, in those 90 days, and we're not even into 90 days. We're not even like our stuff
weekend. We're 8 days in. Okay. So I want to break this down because this is fascinating for me. We're going to get in more behind the scenes. Like, our business is building and growing fast and furious. And I am so grateful. We consistently have boundaries that we have committed to, that we reinforce, with our 3-day work week and things like that. There's some things where it's like, this has to get done. Right. So like, okay, fine. Book a Monday. Let's knock it out. Right. So I'm not going to say like, rainbows and butterflies, like everything. Right. But it's one of those things where we were being coached and building our own systems and incorporating our own stuff. Rhonda was putting in the work. We were coaching our mastermind. We were consulting one-on-one with a client during his own launch that literally launched a week after ours. Right. And I went to Vegas all within a matter of the whole launch.
We get it. Life.
But at no point did I feel, and I don't want to speak for you, Rhonda. So like, I did not feel intimidated. I did not feel like this is like a shiitake show on wheels. At no point did I feel like we were not creating the best opportunity within this launch for the people that we wanted to solve the problem for, and that we were doing too much and stretching ourselves too thin. But it's because of the way that we work, the way that we stay in our zones of genius, and the systems that we have in place to support us. So like, I'm not sharing all of this things with you to say like, look how busy we were, and we did it anyway, and we're burning both candles at the end, and we're exhausted. And no, it wasn't like that at all. It was probably the easiest launch I've ever been a part of. And I've been on many that was the only thing I was working on at the time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. And it's, it's not like a one, we didn't do it to be a one-hit wonder. We were like, okay, let's back up against the wall. This is what our deadline is. I already told you how we recorded it. Colton did the YouTube stuff, because again, I'm not saying I'm the YouTube expert. What I did is I filmed those videos that is almost like the expert talks about it. And then here's the student, here's how I figured out how to do what he said, go do. And here's the process that you need to implement that. And I'm still doing that each and every day. And it just, we launched it, and then we immediately started evaluating and serving and then evaluating. And even in that 7 days before cart close, we were already optimizing. And so there's something to be said for that. Now we take what we have and we do it again. And then we do it again, and we do it again. And we just keep, we watch how people are taking the content that we've shared, how they're showing up in the community, what is lacking, what are some areas of opportunity that we can add. And we just keep going. I mean, we just continue to refine it. And then, I mean, to me, video marketing made easy, it works for any niche. It works whether you're a beginner or whether you're advanced. I think there's something for everyone. If you're advanced, you could just take this process and hand it over to your team. It's literally it's worth more than that. I don't even know if I should be saying that, Cassie, but it gets you to a point where you have laid such a phenomenal foundation of organic traffic on all platforms. I'm not going to tell. I promise I won't, Cassie.
Okay. I gotta watch her. I gotta watch Rhonda.
That then if you want to go to your Facebook ads expert, your YouTube, Google ads expert, then that is the step to take, right? We have laid that foundation. Or if you just want to stay in organic, y'all, I mean, I think we need to increase the price, Cassie, because I think you're good. And yeah, it's not like the tutorials that are in there are like all these platforms, they're constantly changing. But maybe here's the thing that separates us, Cassie. Here's our onlyness factor. We do this every day.
Yeah.
Colton goes out and he is doing this every single day because and optimizing. He's optimizing for more traffic, leads, and sales. It's not a whole bunch of videos that he threw in a dashboard and said, here, this is $4,000, pay me, see you later.
Right, peace out. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's definitely the long-term commitment. And I think that is a signature foundation to, your strategy with customers for life. So with that, we will close out this episode, and we will coordinate with Colton, the 2.0, and we'll share sort of like what went into the launch, preparing for the workshops and all of that fun stuff. But I sure do hope that there was some insights for you in here. Most importantly, there's a person with a problem that needs solving right now, period. Like I can say that with 100% confidence. And if you are the best person to solve that in a simple and fast manner,
do it. Do it. Yes. Yep. Yes. All right, friends. This was a fun episode.
Yep. Bye, everyone. See you next time.